Hello, this is a quick tutorial on how to bake a normal map in Blender. I'm assuming that you've never used Blender before or just recently started using it, so I'll try to mention what buttons I'm hitting along the way. Okay, the first thing we want to do is we need a high poly object and a low poly object for the purposes of this tutorial. You don't always have to have one. If you might only have a low poly object, but you're baking a bump map to go with a texture you painted because maybe you needed to paint some displacement on under shoelaces or jacket pockets or different things that need to rise up above the regular basic mesh that was a boot or whatever. For this demo, we're going to use the monkey. So we need two monkeys. Here, we could have used a box or anything. We'll get one. Now another one. Okay. I'll come over here to the side, and it causes we have a Suzanne 1 and Suzanne. We got this Suzanne, and then this was the second one. We'll go ahead and turn the second one into the high poly mesh. So I'm going to rename this one High HP Mesh. And the original one, we'll rename it to LP Mesh. Okay, so let me turn off the LP Mesh for a second. Select that the one is going to be the high poly mesh. I'm going to come over here to Tools, and I want to go into Edit mode with the HP Mesh selected. I'm going to hit Tab, or see, I hit Tab, go in Edit mode, or back to Object mode, or you can come down here, hit these little arrows, and select Edit mode. Come over here in this Transform menu in Tools, and we'll turn on Smooth Vertex for the purposes of this tutorial. But I'm looking for the Subdivide button. Okay, this is the high poly one, so yeah, let's subdivide him a few times so that I can paint some displacement on. That should be enough. Let me come out of tab out of object mode so you can see. Let's turn on smoothing so it looks smooth. Turn on edit again, you can see that it is a high poly mesh. Okay, I'm going to come in here to scope mode and make him a little different so we'll be able to tell that the bump map worked. Increase my brush radius, decrease my brush radius just a little bit here, and maybe more wrinkles like this. Just want something that we can find so we'll know that we did this right. Let's jack this all up with some put some veins on the head, what have you. Boom, boom. You know, maybe some shoelaces or stitches. Okay. All right, that's good enough. You get the point. Now, come back to object mode, and now it's time for the fun stuff. The first thing you want to do is split your screen, because if you keep going back and forth between the UV editing screen and then you can't see the other stuff on the side, it's going to give Blender a bad reputation, which it doesn't deserve. So I'll go back into default, hover up here like this, just hover, and click and split the area. Come over here to this little button here, and this button goes with this window. This one has one too. And you'll appreciate the beauty of these because it means you can set Blender up any way you want to. But I want UV editing on this side. Now, I don't need this menu right here. So you could either just drag it out of the way, or you can hit T and it'll go away. Hit the plus sign to bring either one of those back. Okay, now let's get set up for our map. First thing you want to do is click this little upside down triangle while you have the low poly mesh active. Let's turn off the high poly mesh. We want the low poly mesh turned on, This is the one you're baking the bump map for. And we hit this, come down to UV maps. And I'm going to go into edit mode here. Right now you'll notice he doesn't have any UVs. So we're going to hit the plus sign. And we can leave that name UV map. And over here we're going to make a new one. We'll call it UV map. Okay. And that's fine. It can be black. And now come to mesh and if you use Smart UV Project, Blender will figure out a way to unwrap it. You might not want to turn it into your employer this way, but if you just need to unwrap something like for your own work or purposes of a video like this, or something like a pottery plant or something that nobody cares what the UVs look like under there, you can hit this and say OK, and boom, it gives you a UV map. Now we can go on with the lesson. We also need to hit the plus button here, and we're going to make one for the normal map to be burned on. And I want to rename it normal map. Okay, come over here, hit the plus sign. We need to make one for the normal map to be baked on. And let's give it a white background so we know without a doubt that we see all that nice looking purple stuff when the bump map, normal map, whatever you want to call it, is burned. Okay, got that there. Let's come over here and if you see this little asterisk short, that means you have images that aren't saved. Let's save these images. And looks like I got stuff already in here, so I'm gonna go. That's fine. It saved it. Okay. We want to stay on. We want the active map right now to be the normal map. So normal map. We got normal map over there. Now we can do the baking. I'm just going to select off on this lamp or something so nothing is selected, so I can demonstrate what has to happen next. First thing you want to do to get to baking, you want to hit this little camera right here. And then come to the select, make sure it's visible, select the high poly mesh first. And then hold shift and right click on the left on the low poly mesh. The key to this, or you'll get some errors or it just won't work, you gotta select the mesh that has the bumps on it first. Select the object or texture or whatever that has the texture that you want to bake to second. If you're baking a normal map and it's only one object involved, like you got this generic boot from your coworker and you're texturing it and you want to maybe you just want to make the normal map to go with the textures that you painted, then all you would have had to do was select the one mesh, because you only got one mesh that you're dealing with anyway. But your mesh has to be the last one you selected. Okay, now I'm going to come and down here to bake. Remember, we got here by clicking on the little camera. Alright, and I want to come to the bake mode to be normals. And in this case, I'm going to put on selected to active. If you don't have a high res mesh in the scene and you're only bumping something, the one object you're working on, like some pants, and maybe you painted on where the zipper or some laces go, some displacement, then you don't have to worry about this selected to active. But I got to click it for this lesson. This being on tangent is fine. Now we're ready to bake. I'm going to hit bake. And boom, voila. it baked our normal map. You can see a little different colors in there for the tangents and stuff that come in too. And we could see the little ugly arc that I drew on there showed up in the bump map. So it worked. And it's to the UV pattern that we made. So if you place this bump map on the low poly object, it should show up. So now I'm going to go back to just regular default screens. No, I don't have to. I was come over here and I'm going to turn off the high poly mesh. We just have the low poly mesh there. And I'm going to go into texture mode. And voila, that low poly mesh that only had a few polygons compared to that multi-billion-dollar gazillion polygon mesh has the detail on it. So we're able to bring all that detail over to this monkey head and make him look older with veins and